Om Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Dhyayet Sarva Vigno Pashantaye. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhi Tamastu Mavedvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Agajanana Patmarkam Gajanana Maharnisham Anekadantam Bhaktanam Ekadantam Upasmahe Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Gurave Sarva Lokanam Vishaje Bhavaroginam Nidaye Sarva Vidyanam Shri Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Asmad Guru Sharanaravindaabhyam Namaha Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmalasphटिकाकृतिम् Adharam Sarva Vidyanam Shri Hayagrivam Upasmahe Shri Hayagrivam Namaha Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Shri Mahasaraswati Namaha Uma Komala Hastabja Sambhavitalatakam Hiranyakundalam Vande Kumaram Pushkarasrajam Vetrivel Muruganek Har Haro Hara Lokaviryam Mahapujyam Sarvarakshakaram Vibhum Parvati Hridayanandam Shastaram Pranamamyaham Swami Sharanamayappa Vagarta Viva Sampraktau Vagarta Pratipattahe Jagatah Pitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau Shri Parvati Parameshwarabhyam Namaha Komalam Kujahin Venum Shyamaloyam Kumarakah Vedavedyam Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Asmad Guru Charanaravindaabhyam Namaha Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Shri Natha Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Shri Natha Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Shri Natha Narayana Vasudeva पीताम्बरं करविराजितचक्रशङ्खकौमोदकी सरसिजं करुणासमुद्रं राधासहायम् अतिसुन्दरमन्दहासं वातालयेशम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि कृष्णो रक्षतु मां चराचरगुरुः कृष्णं नमस्ये सदा कृष्णेनैव सुरक्षितोऽहमसकृत् कृष्णाय दत्तं मनः कृष्णादेव समुद्भवो मम विभो कृष्णस्य दासोऽस्म्यहं कृष्णे भक्तिरचञ्चलास्तु भगवन् हे कृष्ण तुभ्यं नमः श्री गुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं नम्राणां सन्निधत्ते सततमपि पुरस्तैरनभ्यर्थितानपि आर्तान् कामानजस्रं वितरति परमानन्दसान्द्रां गतिं च इत्थं निःशेषलभ्यो निरवधिकफलः पारिजातो हरे त्वं क्षुद्रं तं शक्रवाटी द्रुममभिलषति व्यर्थमर्त्यव्रजोह्यं श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं श्रीभट्टपादम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि वंशी विभूषितकरात् नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरात् अरुणबिम्बफलादरोष्टात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने കൈരണ്ടും കൂപ്പി ഞാൻ വീണ്ടുമീറക്കുന്നു നീരജലോചന നിന്നോടായി ഏതീനു മഞ്ഞനെ കുമ്പിടേണ്ടാത്തോരു പ്രീതിയിൽ നീ എന്നെ പാലിക്കെന്നായി കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ. I know a few people are going to join late, so since we're just three right now, we'll just get started with the meanings itself, class itself. So I think on 6 we did 2 stanzas, right? I think so, yeah. Okay, so we'll do 3. So Rupa, you and Prabha can be student, okay, first half. So every 2 stanzas I'll say the meaning, because this is nothing much to describe. It's just general, which part is what is which part of the Virat Swarupam, right? So, Griva Mahastava Mukam cha janas tapastu, comma, phalam shirastava samasta mayasya satyam, evam jagan mayatano
Rajesh ji,
jagadashri.
we did only first stanza.
Oh, we didn't do two?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, all right. So it's two.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Jange talatalam ato sutalam cha janu, comma, kinchoru bhaga yugalam bitalatale dve kshonitalam jaganam ambaram anga. Jaganam ambaram anga nabihi. Put a visarga there, comma, nabihi. Next on top of the va, there is a ear. You can remove that. Bakshascha shakra nilayas tava chakrapane. Janghe talatalato sutalam cha janu kinchorubhagayugalam vitalatale dve shonitalam jaganamambaramanganabihi vakshascha shakranilayastava chakrapane.
Jange talamatalato sutalam cha janu kimchorubhagayugalam vitala tale dve shonitalam jaganamambaramanganabihi vakshassa chakranilayastava chakrapane.
Rupan, the first time talatalam.
Talatalatho. Okay. Jange talatalatho sutalam cha janu kimchorubhagayugalam vitalatale dve shonitalam jaganamambaramanganabihi vakshasra chakranilayastava chakrapane.
Second line, first word kinchoru, in sound, not im. In kinchoru.
Kinchoru.
Yeah.
Jange talamato sutalam cha janu kinchorubhagayugalam vitalatale dve kshonitalam jaganamambaramanganabihi vakshascha shakranilayastava chakrapane. Jange talamato sutalam cha janu kinchorubhagayugalam vitalatale dve kshonitalam jaganamambaramanganabihi vakshascha shakranilayastava chakrapane.
Answer 3. Griva mahastava mukam cha janastapastu phalam shirastava samastamayasya satyam evam jaganmayatano jagadashritairyapyanyair nibadhava pushe bhagavan namaste. So stanza 2, if you kind of go from the we spoke about Rasatala and Mahatala. We went up to the ankles. So now you're going up. So you say, oh, Chakrapane means the one who holds the discus, oh Vishnu. He says, when you go up, the portion between the ankles and the knees, so your calves and then the front of the calves, and on the front side of it, that's the Talatala. Says you're through Jange. Jange is that, so then Janu, then Sutalam cha Janu, the knees are the Sutala region. Then when you go up to the thighs are Vitala, Athala. So Vitala, Athala, Talatala, Sutala, all of those regions. Then when you go up, your hip is the earth. So Jaganam, Kshoni, Talam, Jaganam is the earth is your hip. Then your Nabhi, your navel portion is the sky. And then your chest is the Shakra Nilayas, the place where Indra lives, which is Swargaloka. So Satyaloka, the Swargaloka, that is your chest. So that is coming up to the chest. Then he goes further. Now you have Makaraloka and Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka, the other 4 regions. So then you start going up. You see your neck is Makaraloka, your face is Janaloka, then Tapaloka is your forehead, and the Satyaloka is the top of, is the head. The head, which is the very top, is your Satyaloka. So that way, each portion of your body, from the bottom of your foot to the top of the foot, are the 14 worlds, right? Just it's a representation, that's it. And the point being that all the 14 worlds are condensed into you, right? So your body, it says, is the whole universe, right? Jagan, your body, and in addition to that, Anye, so it's not just the worlds, but anything and everything which is there is also condensed inside you. So there's nothing that is outside of you. So to that Bhagavan, to that Lord, Namaste, my salutations to you. So Griva Mahastava Mukam Cha Janas Tapastu, comma, Phalam Shirastava Samasta Mayasya Satyam Evam Jagan Mayatano Jagadashritairya. So put a plus there at the end of that line, and 3 and 4 will come together. Jagadashritairya Pyanyair. In case you have Jagadashritairapi Anyair, then you just join, you have that, okay, then just change it to Jagadashritairya Pyanyair. The P and A becomes Pya. Jagadashritairya Pyanyair Nibaddha Vapushe Bhagavan Namaste. Griva Mahastava Mukham Cha Janastapastu Phalam Shirastava Samasta Mayasya Satyam Evam Jaganmayatano Jagadashritairya Nibaddha Vapushe Bhagavan Namaste.
Griva Mahastava Mukham Cha Janastapastu Phalam Shirastava Samasta Mayasya Satyam Evam Jaganmayatano Jagadashritairya Pyanye Nibadhya Vapushe Bhagavan Namaste.
Nibaddha, double da, Nibaddha Vapushe.
Nibadha, Vaddha the never.
No, ba. First ba, Nibaddha.
Okay. Griva Mahastava Mukham Cha Janastapastu Phalam Shirastava Samasta Mayasya Satyam Evam Jaganmayatano Jagadashritair Pyanye Nibadha Vapushe Bhagavan Namaste.
அந்த ஒரு ஜெகதாஷ் ஸ்ரீதைரப் அது அந்த சொல்றேல கொஞ்சம்
Evam Jaganmayatano Jagadashritairya
தைரியப். ஓகே, thank you. ग्रीवा महस्तव मुखं च जनस्तपस्तु फालं शिरस्तव समस्तमयस्य सत्यम् एवं जगन्मयतनो जगदाशितैर्यप्यन्यैर्निबद्ध वपुषे भगवन् नमस्ते.
The second line, first word on the fa won't come, it's like pa. So you say pa with more emphasis, that's all. Phalam.
Phalam, okay. Griva mahastava mukham cha janastapastu phalam shirastava samastamayasya satyam evam jaganmayatano jagadash shritairyapyanyairnibaddha vapushe bhagavan namaste.
Stanza 4. Svat Brahma Randra Padam Ishwara Vishwakanda, Chandamsi Keshava Ghanas Tava Kesha Pashaha Ullasi Chilli Yugalam Druhinasya Geham, Pakshmani Ratri Divasau Savita Cha Netre. Twadbrahmarandra Padamishwara Vishwakandha Chandamsi Keshava Ghanastava Kesha Pashaha Ullasi Chilli Yugalam Druhinasya Geham Pakshmani Ratri Divasau Savita Cha Netre.
Twadbrahmarandra Padamishwara Vishwakanda Chandamsi Keshava Ghanastava Kesha Pashaha Ullasi Chilli Yugalam Druhinasya Geham Pakshmani Ratri Divasau Savita Cha Netre. Twadbrahmarandra Padamishwara Vishwakanda Chandamsi Keshava Ghanastava Kesha Pashaha Ullasi Chilli Yugalam Druhinasya Geham Pakshmani Ratri Divasau Savita Cha Netre.
Twadbrahmarandra Padamishwara Vishwakanda Chandasmi Keshava Ghanastava Kesha Pashaha Ullasi Chilli Yugalam Druhinasya Geham Pakshmani Ratri Divasau Savita Cha Netre.
For the second line, first word, Chandamsi. Chandamsi.
त्वद्ब्रह्मरन्ध्र पदमीश्वर विश्वकन्द छन्दांसि केशव घनास्तव केशपाशाः उल्लासि चिल्लियुगलं द्रुहिणस्य गेहं पक्ष्मानि रात्रिदिवसौ सविता च नेत्रे.
That's all fine. निःशेष विश्वरचना च कटाक्षमोक्षः कर्णौ दिशोष्वियुगलं तव नासिके द्वे लोभत्रपे च भगवन्न धरोत्तरोष्टौ तारागणाश्च दशनाः शमनश्च दंष्ट्रा. So we saw the individual 14 worlds now got covered. So now the rest of the things, I don't know the context behind why it's what, right? Because again, this is from the Rig Veda, and this is how even Purusha Suktam also is there. So it says your Brahma Randhra, which means the top of the head, we spoke about we covered, right, in the Ashtanga Yoga. That Brahma Randhra is Chandas. Chandas means Vedas. So your Vedas are residing at the top of your head. And this is just representation. That doesn't mean Vedas are physically sitting there, right? So Vedas at the top, the Brahma Randhra is your Vedas. Then it says your hair, your Kesha, are the clouds. Ghana, the clouds are your hair. Then your eyebrows, the eyebrows which are there, that is where Brahma is residing. And your eyelashes, it says are, Ratri Divasau, it's the day and the night. And your eyes are the sun, because it's shining so bright, your eyes are the sun. So that is the first one. Then the second, it says your Kataksha Moksha, the glance that you do, that itself creates the creation of the universe, because we saw, right, that the Lord, he doesn't necessarily want to create. There's no desire, but just he just ikshana, he just looks at it and the world is formed. So he says your kataksha moksha, that is what is the cause of the universe. Then your karnau, your ears, are the direction, because that's where the sound can flow anyway. So it says those are the all directions. Then your nasika, your nostrils, are where the Ashwini devatas are. Then it says your teeth, are the stars, because of it is shining that way. And so it just gives various parts of the body are the various things, right? So I don't know why one is what, right? So Nishesha Vishwa Rachana Cha Kataksha Mokshaha, Karnau Dishoshvi Yugalam Tava Nasike Dve Lobhatrape Cha Bhagavan Na Dharotta Roshtau, Na Dharotta double ta, Itandata, Dharotta Roshtau, Tara Ganashcha Dashanaha, put a ish, Dashanash, Shamanashcha Damshtra. So this word has a lot of ish or sha coming. So basically what is happening is anytime there's a cha which is coming after it, and then it's Tara Ganaha Cha Dashanaha Shamanaha Cha Damshtra. So that's why it's all visarga there, but when the cha is coming, then you put a ish to join. So that's why you're seeing various ish coming in that last line. Because cha means and, right? So it's just joining all that.
There is no ra in the last. Tara Ganashcha Radanash.
No, Dashana. Dashanash.
Dashanash.
Dashana. Dashanaha, so it becomes Dashanash. Nishesha Vishwarachana Chakataksha Mokshaha Karnau Dishoshvi Yugalam Tavanasike Dve Lobhatrape Cha Bhagavanna Dharottaroštau Tara Ganashcha Dashanash Shamanashcha Damshtra.
Nishesha Vishwarachana Cha Kataksha Mokshaha Karno Disho Shri Yugalam Tavanasike Dve Lobhatrape Cha Bhagavannatarottaroshtau Tara Ganashcha Dashanash Shamanamscha Damshtra.
Shamanashcha Damshtra.
Shamanamscha Damshtra.
Shamanashcha Damshtra.
Shamanashcha Damshtra. Nishesha Vishwarachana Cha Kataksha Mokshaha Karno Disho Shri Yugalam Tavanasike Dve Lobhatrape Cha Bhagavannatarottaroshtau Tara Ganashcha Dashanash Shamanashcha Damshtra.
Nishesha Vishwarachana Cha Kataksha Mokshaha Karnau Disho Shviyugalam Tavanasike Dve Lobhatrape Cha Bhagavan Adharottaroštau तारागणाश्च दशनाः शमनश्च दंष्ट्रा.
And so, Andaratla Bhagavan Adhar, you don't have to say that, break it that way. Just put the double na there, in and a na. So Bhagavan Adhar, Bhagavan.
Bhagavan
Yeah, because the in and a becomes two nas there. So.
निःशेष विश्वरचना च कटाक्षमोक्षः कर्णौ दिशौ श्वियुगलं तव नासिके द्वे लोभत्रपे च भगवन्नदरोत्तरोष्टौ तारागणाश्च दशनाः शमनश्च दंष्ट्रा.
Maya Vilasa Hasitam Shwasitam Samiro, Jihwa Jalam Vachanamisha Shakunta Panktihi Siddhadayaha, put is Siddhadayas Swaragana Mukarandram Agnihi, put a visarga there and comma. Next line on top of the de, the ir goes away. Deva Bhujaha, put a is Bhujas Tanayugam Tava Dharma Devaha. Maya Vilasa Hasitam Shwasitam Samiro Jihwa Jalam Vachanamisha Shakunta Panktihi Siddhadaya Swaragana Mukarandramagnihi Deva Bhujastana Yugam Tava Dharma Devaha.
Maya Vilasahasitam Swasitam Samiro Jihwa Jalam Vachanamisha Shakunta Panktihi Siddhadayaswaragana Mukarandramagnihi Deva Bhujastanayugam Tava Dharma Devaha. Maya Vilasahasitam Swasitam Samiro Jihwa Jalam Vachanamisha Shakunta Panktihi Siddhadayaswaragana Mukarandramagnihi Deva Bhujastanayugam Tava Dharma Devaha.
Maya Vilasa Hasitam Shwasitam Samiro Jihva Jalam Vachanamisha Shakunta Panktihi Siddhadayas Swaragana Mukarandramang Siddhadayaswaragana Mukarandram Agnihi Deva Bhujastanayugam Tava Dharma Devaha. Maya Vilasa Hasitam Shwasitam Samiro Jihva Jalam Vachanamisha Shakunta Panktihi Siddhadayaswaragana Mukarandramagnihi Deva Bhujastanayugam Tava Dharma Devaha.
Prishtam Tvadarma Iha Deva Manas Sudhamshuhu Avyaktameva Hridayam Bhujamam Bhujaksha Kukshis Samudra Nivaha Vasanam Tu Sandhye Shefah Prajapati Rasau Vrishanau Cha Mitraha. So the previous one, Vilasa Hasitam, the smile that you have, the charming smile, he says is Maya. That's what is, is the illusion. That's the illusion that is causing everybody to believe what is there. Your breath is the wind that is blowing everywhere. Then he says your tongue is water, jihva. Jihva means tongue, jalam is water, jihva, jalam. Then he says mukarandram, your agnihi. So your mouth, he says, is fire. Now, where do you think this has you must have heard this somewhere? For those of you who know Vishnu Sahasranama, do you remember where you heard this? Some of these things, what is there in this and the next one repeats. If you know in the Dhyana Stokam, it says Bhuf Pado Yasya Nabir Bheda Suranilas Chandra Surya Uchanetre. It's exactly the same thing. Karna Vasha Shirodhyo Mukhamapi Dahano Yasya Vasteyam Agni Abdihi. So it's the same thing. So whatever we are saying here, that's the Dhyana Stokam of Vishnu Sahasranam also. Because all of these essentially come from the Rig Veda, like we said, where each of this is described as the various parts of the Lord which you meditate on. So he says Mukarandram Agnihi, your mouth is a fire, and your hands are the gods who do all the work, and your Sthanayugam, your breast, is Dharmadeva. So that is on the previous one. Then it says, then mind, like we saw, the mind is always the moon. So the eyes are the sun, the mind is the moon. That's why Manas Chanda Chandas and Manas, they always connect because mind is moon is the controller of the mind. So mind is the moon. When you say your heart, is the unmanifested Brahman and everything, and it goes on comparing various things. Says your organs, the generative organs of your body is Prajapati, who is the creator of everything, right? And then so similarly, your moon and sun and everything we covered, and I think what else is important here? Prajapati is there. Yeah. So anyway, so that's the key ones. Prishtham twadharma iha deva manaha, put is manas, sudhamshuhu, put a visarga there, comma. Next the ra becomes a, avyaktameva hridayambhujam ambujaksha. So hridayambhujam ambujaksha if you want to break it. Kukshihi, put a is kukshis, samudra nivaha vasanam tu sandhye, comma. Shephaha is there, put a f, shepah, prajapatirasau vrishanau cha mitraha. Prishtham twadharma iha deva manassudhamshuhu avyaktameva hridayambhujam ambujaksha kukshis samudra nivaha vasanam tu sandhye shepha prajapatirasau vrishanau cha mitraha.
Prishtam twadharma iha deva manussudhamshuhu avyaktameva hridayambhujam ambujaksha kukshi samudra nivaha vasanam tu sandhye shefah prajapatirasau vrishanau cha mitraha. Prishtam twadharma iha deva manussudhamshuhu manassudhamshuhu avyaktameva hridayambhujam ambujaksha kukshi samudra nivaha vasanam tu sandhye shefah prajapatirasau vrishanau cha mitraha.
Prishtam twadharma iha deva manassudhamshuhu avyaktameva hridayambhujam ambujaksha kukshis samudra nivaha vasanam tu sandhye shepah prajapatirasau vrishanau cha mitraha. Prishtam twadharma iha deva manassudhamshuhu avyaktameva hridayambhujam ambujaksha kukshis samudra nivaha vasanam tu sandhye shepah prajapatirasau vrishanau cha mitraha.
Shroni stalam mrigaganaha, put a f, mrigaganaf, padayor nakhaste, and then put a plus, hastyushtra. So ist hastyushtra saindhava mukhaha. So put a visarga there and then a comma. So first line is say continuous, put a plus at the end, and then after mukhaha, comma, gamanam tu kalaha, vipradi varna bhavanam vadanabja bahu, and then put a plus, charuru yugma charanam karunam budete. So those two lines are together. Because charuru bahu, the four arms. So we'll see what that is in the meaning. So Shroni stalam mrigaganah padayor nakhaste hastyushtra saindhava mukhaha gamanam tu kalaha vipradi varna bhavanam vadanabjabahu charuru yugma charanam karunam budete.
Shroni stalam mrigaganah padayor nakhaste
Hastyushtra
saindhava mukha gamanam tu kalaha vipradi varna bhavanam vadanabjabahu charuru yugma charanam karunam budhete.
Rupa, the second line after mukhaha, you have to add a visarga. Okay, the second line.
Okay, mukhaha.
Yeah. And then the third line you said bahu. There is no visarga there. Just vadanabja bahu.
Vadanabja bahu. Okay. Shoni sthalam mrigagana padayor nakhaste hastyushta saindha mukhaha.
Saindhava. Hastyushtra saindhava mukhaha.
Hastyushtra saindhava mukhaha. Gamanam tu kalaha विप्रादिवर्णभवनं वदनाब्जबाहु चारूरुयुग्मचरणं करुणाम्बुधे ते
श्रोणीस्थलं मृगगणाः पदयोर्नखास्ते हस्त्रुश्च सैन्धवमुखाः गमनं तु कालः विप्रादिवर्णभवनं वदनाब्जबाहु चारूरुयुग्मचरणं करुणाम्बुधे ते
Second line, hastyushtra.
हस्त्युष्ट्र
Yeah.
श्रोणीस्थलं मृगगणाः पदयोर्नखास्ते हस्त्युष्ट्र सैन्धवमुखाः गमनं तु कालः विप्रादिवर्णभवनं वदनाब्जबाहु चारूरुयुग्मचरणं करुणाम्बुधे ते
The mukaha, you're adding an extra hang. Mukaha. I think you're saying mukaha. You're saying. Okay, mukaha. That's it. Okay. Stanza 9. Samsara chakramai chakradhara kriyaste viryam mahasuraghanosti kulani shailaha nadya sarit samudayastarvascha roma jihadidam vapura nirvachaniyamisha. So previous one, it says your waist, anyway, the hip region was the earth. It says your waist region is where all is the animal's world. It says every time you move is where time is moving. So your movement is time. And then the Vadanabjabahu Charuru. So it's your four arms. He says the four arms are like the four castes. So this one, while here in Narayaneeyam it doesn't say what is what. In Purusha Suktam, right, it actually says Brahmanosya Mukam Asit. So the Brahmana is actually coming from your face, from your Mukam Asit. Bahu Rajanya Kritaha. So your arms are the Kshatriyas. Bahu Rajanya. Uru Tadasya Yad Vaishyaha. Your thighs are the Vaishyas. And then Padbhyam Shudro Ajayata. Your feet is where the Shudras are. So nothing that one is good or the other. It just says each one, because the Brahmins say the Vedas. So it says that's where the Brahmanos, the Brahmins are your mouth, because that's where the Vedas are said, and that's what their responsibility is. Right? So that's why it says those are the various four hands or the four parts of your body, from thighs and feet, and all the four castes are your hands and face and everything. So that is on the previous stanza. And then here it says, that samsara kriyaha. So your activity. So as you move, like we said, your movement is the time. Similarly, he says all the activity you do is the whole wheel of samsara, of birth and death is the activity that you're doing. And then it says your bones are the mountains, and then your blood vessels are the rivers, and your hair are the trees and everything. And he says, in the end, he concludes it by saying, Jiyaditam. So this form of yours, this form of yours shine. Like we said, this is essentially the description of the Lord, and you don't have to remember what every part is or anything. But the idea being is you have to remember that everything that is there is part of the Lord. That is the core aspect of it, right? So all the 14 worlds and every other thing that is conceivable is a portion of the Lord's body. You kind of metamorphically or say that, right? It doesn't mean it is actually that, but you just imagine it to be that. So samsara chakramai chakradhara kriyaste viryam mahasura ganosti kulani shailaha nadyas. So id sound. Nadyas sarit samudayas taravash cha roma comma jiyadidam vapura nirvachaniyam isha. So that word you have to say it together. Vapura nirvachaniyam isha. संसार चक्रमयि चक्रधर क्रियास्ते वीर्यं महासुरगणोऽस्ति कुलानि शैलाः नाड्यः सरित् समुदयस्तरवश्च रोम जीयादिदं वपुरनिर्वचनीयमीश.
संसार चक्रमयि चक्रधर क्रियास्ते वीर्यं महासुरगणोऽस्ति कुलानि शैलः नाड्या सरित् समुदयस्तरवश्च रोम जियादिदं वपुरनिर्वचनीयमीश. संसार चक्रमयि चक्रधर क्रियास्ते वीर्यं महासुरगणोऽस्ति कुलानि शैलः.
Sorry, Rupanga, शैलाः.
शैलाः वीर्यं महासुरगणोऽस्ति कुलानि शैलाः नाढ्याः सरित्समुदयस्तरवश्च रोम जियादिदं वपुरनिर्वचनीयमीशा
संसारचक्रमयि चक्रधरक्रियास्ते वीर्यं महासुरगणोऽस्ति कुलानि शैलाः नाड्यः सरित्समुदयस्तरवश्च रोम जीयादिदं वपुरनिर्वचनीयमीशा संसारचक्रमयि चक्रधरक्रियास्ते वीर्यं महासुरगणोऽस्ति कुलानि शैलाः नाड्यः सरित्समुदयस्तरवश्च रोम जीयादिदं वपुरनिर्वचनीयमीशा.
Stanza 10. ईदृग्जगन्मयवपुस्तव कर्म भाजां कर्मावसान समये स्मरणीयमाहुः तस्यान्तरात्मवपुषे विमलात्मने ते वातालयाधिप नमोस्तु निरुन्धिरोगान्. Says this vapuhu, this form of yours, which is the Virat Swarupam of yours, everybody who's bound by karma, right, which is all the beings. So at the end of every activity, at the end of every puja or in every ritual or anything that you do, so you should imagine this form. That's why in a lot of places after Rudram is done, they recite the Purusha Suktam, right? Because that's what is essentially, it's also describing the same thing. So he says should recite this, and also at the time of Smaraniyam Ahu, you should imagine this form at the end, at the time of your death also, if you can, right? So that form of your body, which is which is shining, right, and it's pure Sattva Guna, I'm surrendering to that, I'm meditating to that body. Please eradicate all my ailments as well. So idrit jaganmaya vapus tava karma bhajam, karmavasana samaye smaraniya mahuhu tasyantaratma vapushe vimalatmanete, vatalayadhipa namostu nirundi rogan. ईदृग् जगन्मय वपुस्तव कर्म भाजां कर्मावसान समये स्मरणीयमाहुः तस्यान्तरात्मवपुषे विमलात्मने ते वातालयाधिप नमोस्तु निरुन्धिरोगान्.
ईदृग् जगन्मय वपुस्तव कर्म भाजां कर्मावसान समये स्मरणीयमाहुः तस्यान्तरात्मवपुषे विमलात्मने ते वातालयाधिप नमोस्तु निरुन्धिरोगान्. ईदृग् जगन्मय वपुस्तव कर्म भाजां कर्मावसान समये स्मरणीयमाहुः तस्यान्तरात्मवपुषे विमलात्मने ते वातालयाधिप नमोस्तु निरुन्धिरोगान्.
ईदृग् जगन्मय वपुस्तव कर्म भाजां कर्मावसान समये स्मरणीयमाहुः तस्यान्तरात्मवपुषे विमलात्मने ते वातालयाधिप नमोस्तु निरुन्धिरोगान्. ईदृग् जगन्मय वपुस्तव कर्म भाजां कर्मावसान समये स्मरणीयमाहुः तस्यान्तरात्मवपुषे विमलात्मने ते वातालयाधिप नमोस्तु निरुन्धिरोगान्.
Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. That Dasakam was a pretty quick, short Dasakam. So seventh one is actually a very important chapter. There are a couple of stanzas which come there, which we can probably say every day, right? Important stanzas there. So this is a lot of things which are happening here. So at least the description in my book, for example, has Hiranya Garbhotpatti Varnanam. So the formation of Brahma's origin. Hiranya Garbhat Tapash Charana Varnanam, the penance that Brahma does. Vaikuntha Swarupa Varnanam, the Vaikuntham that Brahma sees. Bhagavat Swarupa Sakshatkara Varnanam, so the form of the Lord that Brahma sees. And Bhagavat Anugraha Varnanam, the blessing that Bhagavan gives Brahma, right? So those are all the things which are condensed in this chapter, right? So stanza 1. So this will do chapter for every stanza because every stanza has details in it. Stanza 1. Evam deva chaturdaśatmaka jagat rupena jatah punah tasyordvam khalu satyaloka nilaye jatosi dhata swayam yam shamsanti hiranyagarbhamakila trailokya jivatmakam yo bhutspita rajo vikara vikasan nanasi sriksharasah. So in the last two dashakams, right? So we saw in Dashakam 5 how the various, the actual Brahmandam itself was formed. We saw that's what was in the 5th chapter. Then in the 6th chapter, we saw how that Virat, which is the 14 worlds or the 14 worlds, which are Virat, is the form of the Lord itself. And then we saw the Virat Swarupa Varnam, that was 6. So in this Dasakam, we're going to see about how Brahma started. Now nobody is there, just the 14 worlds are there. So now creation has to start, the first person has to come, right? So that is the description of how Brahma is coming. So here he says, you first entered into the Brahmandam and then you made the 14 worlds. That was your first avataram, O Lord. After you made the 14 worlds, now who is going to create Brahma? Brahma has to be created. So you yourself manifested in the form of Brahma. So Brahma is also like an amsham of the Lord, right? It is just because at the end of the day, he is the source from which everything has to come. So this Brahma also is one amsham of yours. So this Brahma is referred to as Hiranyagarbha, which means is the soul of all the living beings, because everybody else is coming from Brahma. That's what we are going to see in the later chapters, right? So here is Brahma is referred as Hiranyagarbha, but also in other in Vedas, Hiranyagarbha also means the Bhagavan, because he is also the source, right? So you can kind of use this depending on the context. Hiranyagarbha is used as either referring to Brahma or is referred to as Narayana. It doesn't matter, but at the meaning of it is one who is the soul on the source of all the beings. So you can stop it wherever you want, Brahma or Narayana level, right? So then we said with this, the 14 worlds that we saw, the bottom 7 worlds is one, the top 7 worlds is one, then the bottom 7 is one, the earth level is one, and the top 6 is one. Those are the 3 worlds. So now this Brahma, when he's formed, so then Bhagavan itself is pure Sattva Guna. He doesn't have any intention creation. So the person who has to create needs to have a passion for creation. They should want to create. So what happened in the Brahma is, in this Brahma form of yours, the Rajo Guna, which is the passion, came. So it's not just pure Sattva Guna like the Lord, but a little bit of Rajo Guna mixed into it. So with that, Brahma now started having a desire to say, okay, I should create something, right? So otherwise, Brahma also will say, I'm also happily sitting as Sattva Guna, I also don't want to create, then the entire thing will stop. So Brahma had this Rajo Guna which came in him. So because of which he wanted to now start the process of creation. So evam deva, chatur dashatmaka jagat rupena jataha, put a f, jatah punaha, put a visarga then, next line the is goes away, tasyordhvam khalu satya loka nilaye, okay, so Brahma was established in the satya loka. So that is the topmost region that we saw in the Brahmandam, right? Satya loka nilaye, jatosi dhata swayam. Evam deva chaturdaśatmaka jagat rupena jatah punah tasyordhvam khalu satya loka nilaye jatosi dhata swayam.
Evam deva chaturdaśatmaka jagat drupena jatah punah tasyordhvam khalu satya loka nilaye jato siddhata swayam.
After deva there is a comma, okay, in the first line.
Deva, okay, no. Evam deva chaturdaśatmaka jagat rupena jatah punah tasyordhvam khalu satya loka nilaye jato siddhata swayam.
Evam deva chaturdaśatmaka jagadrupena jatah punah tasyordhvam khalu satyaloka nilaye jatosi dhata swayam. Evam deva chaturdaśatmaka jagadrupena jatah punah tasyordhvam khalu satyaloka nilaye jatosi dhatat swayam.
Yam shamsanti, hiranya Garbham Akhila, Hiranya Garbham Akhila, Trailokya Jivatmakam. So Trailokya, like I said, the 14 worlds is called 3 worlds. Trailokya Jivatmakam, comma, Yobhut Sphita Rajo Vikara Vikasan Nanasi Sriksha Rasaha. So after Yam Shamsanti, there is a comma, and then comma at the end of the third line. Fourth line is continuous. Yam Shamsanti Hiranyagarbhamakila Trailokya Jivatmakam Yo Bhutspita Rajo Vikara Vikasan Nanasi Sriksha
Yam Shamsanti Hiranyagarbhamakila Jivatmakam Yo Bhutspita Rajo Vikara Vikasan Nanasi Sriksha Yam Shamsanti Hiranyagarbhamakila Jivatmakam Yo Bhutspita Rajo Vikara Vikasan Nanasi Sriksha
Yam shamsanti hiranyagarbhamakhilatrailokyajīvātmakam yo bhūtspītarajo vikāra vikasan nānāsi srikshārasah.
After Yam Shamsanti, there is a comma. Okay.
Oh. Yam shamsanti hiranyagarbhamakhilatrailokyajīvātmakam yo bhūtspītarajo vikāra vikasan nānāsi srikshārasah.
We'll switch halfway. Purna, you can be a student, and Lavanya, you can be a student. Answer 2. Soyam Vishwa Visargadatta Hridayah Sampashyamana Swayam Bodham Khalvanavapya Vishwa Vishayam Chintakulatpatstivhan Tavatvam Jagatam Pate Tapatapetyevam hi Vaihayasim Vani me Namashishravashruti Sukham Kurvam Stapa Preranam. So before we get into this, I have to kind of tell you all about some 101 things, right? Basic things, because sometimes these words are going to come in the next 3 dasakams, which if you don't understand the basics, then it will be difficult to understand, right, the process. So it's going to start with, we're going to cover 2 things. One is we're going to cover about the life of Brahma, the age of Brahma. Then we're going to cover about the various types of pralaya, because those are going to come in the next 2 dasakams. So first is for us 1 day, right? And then we have different yugas. So right now we are in Kali Yuga. Before it was Dwapara Yuga. Before it was Treta Yuga. Before that was Satya Yuga or Krita Yuga. So this Kali Yuga is 432,000 years. So you put it as X, right? We'll do in simple math terms only. This Dwapara Yuga is 2X. So 864,000. Treta Yuga is 3X. So 432 times 3. Satya Yuga, Krita Yuga is 4X. Okay, so 4 times 432,000. That's why on the Satya Yuga, people lived for 10,000 years because the Yuga itself was so big, right? So now these all 4. So 4x plus 3x plus 2x plus 1x. So 7, 9, 10x, right? So 432,000 times 10. So 4.32 million years, okay, is considered as 1 kalpa for Brahma. Very loosely put, 1 kalpa, you can call it a day. Of course, Brahma, there's no concept of day, night and all that stuff, right? But you kind of can call it 1 kalpa, is generally loosely referred to as day. So 1 day is 4.32 million human years. Okay. Now, this 4.32 million human years of kalpa, Brahma needs help. So what Brahma does is, he then has manus, which are the rulers. So he divides this. So this 4 yugas, when we add it and became 10x 4.32, is called as 1 chatur yuga. Okay, so because it's 4 yugas combined, right? So chatur yuga, that's a term. So he gives it to 14 manus and says, you manus, you distribute this. So if you divide the 1000 chatur yugas by 14 manus, each manu gets 71.25 chatur yuga. Right? So now we are in the 7th manu, Vaivaswata manu. Right? So now 6 manus have already passed. There are 14 manus for this 1 day of Brahma. We are in the 7th manu of a day of Brahma. Now, this same day of Brahma, equivalent period is also a night for Brahma, loosely put as night, and I'll tell you what happens at that time, right? But say that's an equal night. So that is like day and night combined together is 24 hours like for us, right? So that's one full thing for Brahma. This Brahma lives for 100 years, right? So now you can multiply this whole thing with 100, right? That is the age of a Brahma. At the end of that Brahma, 100 years Brahma living, that Brahma is gone. A new Brahma comes, completely new Brahma comes. Okay, so now you got a general idea. You don't have to remember everything. I'll send you a screenshot image from the web which very clearly articulates this numbers, right? But the thing to remember is Chaturyuga, 1000 Chaturyugas is 1 day for Brahma. That 1000 Chaturyugas, there are 14 Manus. The same amount of period is the night of Brahma. The whole Brahma's age is 100 years, right? With this concept. So 360 days is 1 year into 100 years, right? So now, at the end of one kalpa of Brahma, which is this 1 day, there is a pralayam that happens. Pralayam means dissolution. That's what it is, right? So this pralayam is called as a naimittika pralayam. So in this naimittika pralayam, what happens is only the top 4 worlds, the Satya, Satya Loka, Jana Loka, Makar Loka, Tapa Loka, only those 4 worlds remain. All the other lokas, all the other worlds are non-existent. The worlds are completely gone. Okay, and even the residents of the other worlds are gone, but those worlds remain still. Okay, and then nothing happens. When there is a night period, nothing happens. That's the period of equal amount of time where nothing is happening. So it's generally loosely referred to as night because you don't do anything at night, right? That's all it is. At the end of Brahma's 100 years, all the 14 worlds go away. And it all goes and merges into the Lord. And there's absolutely nothingness that is there. At that point, nothing exists. Okay, that is called as a prakritika pralaya. That is a complete dissolution of the world. All 14 worlds and everything that is there. Know that Mahat, everything is gone. Right? We saw last time how the Mahat comes, and then from the Ahankaram and the Rajo Gunas come, and all those things, layers start building. All of that happens only at the first time. Right? Because the rest of the Prakritika Pralaya that happens. So, because everything is merged into the Lord, and we saw how it exists in a Sukshma form. All of that is still sitting inside, right? So, anyway, so that is the Naimittika Pralayam. Now, of course, people also say one other Pralayam is when you go to sleep at night because you don't know what is happening. You go to sleep, it's a new day, you wake up, right? That is a very minor, loosely used Pralayam, right? So, now we saw about the life of Brahma. We spoke about the two Pralayam, the various types of Pralayams. So now here he says, so now this Brahma, so Bhattacharya is going to first explain what happens on the first day after the Prakritika Pralayam has happened. So the Prakritika Pralayam is everything is gone, a completely new Brahma has come. This Brahma's first day of office, right? So he's coming up and saying, okay, what do I do now? Right? And we saw in the last stanza how he has a little bit of Rajo Gunam that is there. So he has a passion for creation. So he is now thinking, right? Okay, you know what? I want to create. So now he is interested in creating, but he doesn't know how to do his job, right? He has not got any training. So think of it as that way, right? He's not thinking, I want to create, but I don't have the knowledge to create. So what is this contemplating? What do I do, right? I know how. Only thing he knows is he has to create. But he's like, I don't know how to create, right? And he's sitting and thinking. So when he's struggling with this puzzle, like our children, we let them struggle for some time to see if they can figure it out, and they don't, then you give them a hint. So similarly, when Brahma is sitting and struggling, he then hears this Ashariri Vak. Ashariri Vak means a sound that you can hear, but you can't see who it is coming from. So same thing happened when Kamsa also was dragging, was about to kill Devaki. He heard an Ashariri Vak. Ashariri means no form. So you don't know who is talking, but I can hear the voice. And that is telling him, tapa, means just do penance, meditate, right? So it just gives him a hint that the way for you to solve, if you don't know what to do, it says do tapa, do tapas. So that is the only thing Brahma is hearing right now. So this is the first day of Brahma and he's hearing this voice. So Soyam Vishwa Visarga Datta Hridayaha, Sampashyamanaha, put is Sampashyamana Swayam, Bodham Khalvana Vapya Vishwa Vishayam, Chintakulas Tastivan. Sohyam Vishwa Visarga Datta Hridayah Sampashyamana Swayam Bodham Khalvanavapya Vishwa Vishayam Chintakulastastivhan. Purna, you're on mute.
She want to go first? Like, I don't want to change the tune.
Okay, Lavanya, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll try. Soyam Vishwa Visarga Datta Hridaya Sampashyamana Swayam Bodham Khalvana Papya Vishvas Vishayam Chintakulastas Divan.
Lavanya, first line Hridayaha. There is a Visarga Hridayaha. Okay.
Hridaya. Okay. Soyam Vishwa Visarga Datta Hridayah Sampashyamana Swayam Bodham Khalvanavapya Vishva Vishayam Chintakulastasdivan.
Soyam Vishwa Visarga Datta Hridayah Sampashyamana Swayam Bodham Khalvanavapya Vishva Vishayam Chintakulastasdivan. Soyam Vishwa Visarga Datta Hridayah Sampashyamana Swayam Bodham Khalvanavapya Vishva Vishayam Chintakulastasdivan.
Tavatvam Jagatam Pate, Tapa Tapetyevam Hi Vaihayasim. Vaihayasim is referring to the Ashariri, something which doesn't have a form. Vaihayasim, Vanim Enam Ashishrava, if you want to break it. Vanim Enam Ashishhravaha is there. Put the ish, Shishravash, Shruti Sukham, Kurvams Tapaha, put the f, Tapaf, Preranam. Tavatvam Jagatam Pate, Tapatapet Evam Hi Vaihayasim, Vani Menam Ashishhravash Shruti Sukham, Kurvam Stapah Preranam.
Tavatvam Jagatam Pate Tapatapet Yevam Hi Vaihayasim Vanim Enam Ashishavash Shruti Sukham Kurvam Stapah Preranam. Tavatvam Jagatam Pate Tapatapet Yevam Hi Vaihayasim Vanim Enam Ashishavash Shruti Sukham Kurvam Stapah Preranam.
Tavatvam Jagatam Pate Tapatapet Evam Hi Vaihayasim Vanim Ashishravash Shruti Sukham Kurvan Stapah Preranam. Tavatvam Jagatam Pate Tapatapet Evam Hi Vaihayasim Vanim Ashishravash Shruti Sukham Kurvan Stapah Preranam.
Stanza 3. Kosau mama badat pumaniti jala purne jagan mandale dikshudviksha kimapyanikshitavata vakyartam utpashyata divyam varsha sahasramatta tapasa tena tvamaradhitah tasmai darshitavanasi swanilayam vaikuntamekadbhutam. So naturally, when Brahma is hearing this, he's thinking to himself, Kaha, so who is this, right? Who's this? I'm not, he's looking around and, he looks around, but he cannot see anybody. And all he sees is that the entire world, nothing is there. There's no creation. Nothing has happened so far. So he's saying with this absolute nothingness in here, who is that intruder, right? It seems like somebody is intruding into the space, right? And then I don't see anybody, so he's looking around wondering. So anytime I say this, the thing I always remember, there's one more person who wondered, looking around. You know who that is? Like he wonders, there's some intruder who's come around, right? So this is the child Parikshit, right? So when Parikshit is in Subhadra and Arjuna's child, right? When he was in Subhadra's womb, a womb is a place which is there's no encroachment. Nobody goes inside the womb. The baby is safe inside the womb. right? But however, when Parikshit was inside the womb, that's when Ashwatthama sent the Brahmastra, and he aimed the Brahmastra to target the womb, because he knew that was the last person left, right, to in the Pandava dynasty, that he wanted to get rid of that. So he aimed at the womb of Uttara. So when Uttara's garbham, when he was there, that's when Krishna went inside the garbham of Uttara at the size of a thumb, and then he was going around the womb, so that in the baby, in the baby form inside the womb, the fetus was looking around, saying, who is this going around me? Like, I don't see anybody inside, but there's somebody who's going around me, right? So that's why the name also came Parikshit, for two reasons. One is because this baby was tested before it was born, so Parikshay happened to this baby. The second, it is Ikshita, it was looking around, Pari, it was looking around all the time before it was born, so it is called Parikshit. So that is the other example I give here. But anyway, so Brahma is looking around saying, who is this? I'm not hearing any sound, right? So finally, when he doesn't see anybody, he then realizes, the knowledge dawns on him that what is being told for him is he has to meditate on the Brahman. So he meditates on the Brahman for several years, and finally, and at some point, Vaikuntham Ekadbhutam Swanilayam Darshitam, you finally show him your abode of Vaikuntham. So we're going to see what that is later, but you finally show him your abode of Vaikuntham, which is an Adbhutam, which is a wonderful, unique place. You then show Brahma at this point. So Kosau Mama Vadat Pumaniti, comma, Jalapurne Jaganmandale, comma, Dikshu Dhikshya Kimapya Nikshitavata, that's one word, Kimapya Nikshitavata, comma, Vakyartam Utpashyata. Kosau Mama Vadat Pumaniti Jalapurne Jaganmandale Dikshu Dhikshya Kimapya Nikshitavata Vakyartam Utpashyata.
कोऽसौ मामवदत् पुमानिति जलापूर्णे जगन्मण्डले दिक्षु द्वीक्ष्य किमप्यनीक्षितवता वाक्यार्थम् उत्पश्यता कोऽसौ मामवदत् पुमानिति जलापूर्णे जगन्मण्डले दिक्षु द्वीक्ष्य किमप्यनीक्षितवता वाक्यार्थम् उत्पश्यता
कोऽसौ मामवदत् पुमानिति जलापूर्णे जगन्मण्डले दिक्षु द्वीक्ष्य किमप्यनीक्षितवता वाक्यार्थमुत्पश्यता कोऽसौ मामवदत् पुमानिति जलापूर्णे जगन्मण्डले दिक्षु द्वीक्ष्य किमप्यनीक्षितवता वाक्यार्थमुत्पश्यता
Divyam Varsha Sahasram Ata Tapasa, comma, Tena Tvam Aradhitaha, put a visarga, Tvam Aradhitaha, comma. Then the is goes away. Tasmai Darshita Vanasi Swa Nilayam, comma, Vaikuntham Ekadbhutam. Divyam Varsha Sahasramata Tapasa, Tena Tvam Aradhitaha. Tasmai darshitavanase swanilayam vaikuntham
दिव्यं वर्षसहस्रम् आतत् तपसा तेन त्वम् आराधितः तस्मै दर्शितवानसि स्वनिलयं वैकुण्ठमेकाद्भुतम् दिव्यं वर्षसहस्रमातत्पसा तेन त्वम् आराधितः तस्मै दर्शितवानसि स्वनिलयं वैकुण्ठमेकाद्भुतम्
दिव्यं वर्षसहस्रमाततपसा तेन त्वमाराधितः तस्मै दर्शितवानसि स्वनिलयं वैकुण्ठमेकाद्भुतम् दिव्यं वर्षसहस्रमाततपसा तेन त्वमाराधितः तस्मै दर्शितवानसि स्वनिलयं वैकुण्ठमेकाद्भुतम्.
माया यत्र कदापि नो विकुरुते भाते जगद्भ्यो बहिः शोकक्रोधविमोहसाध्वसमुखाः भावास्तु दूरं गताः सान्द्रानन्दझरी च यत्र परम ज्योतिः प्रकाशात्मके तत्ते धाम विभावितं विजयते वैकुण्ठरूपं विभो. So where is this Vaikuntham? Because when we describe the Brahmanda 14 words, the word Vaikuntham did not come at all, right? We saw up to Satyaloka, right? And we did not say where it is. So he says, this Jagat, this Brahmandam that we discussed, this Vaikuntham is beyond that Brahmandam, right? So now, what is the difference between this? Is everything and anything which is inside this Brahmandam, the 14 words, starting from the Satyaloka, where Brahma is, they have two main constraints. One is everybody has a start date and an end date. So although our start date and end date may be a few years, we saw even Brahma has 100 Brahma years. He has a start date and he has an end date. And everything within Brahmandam, even the creatures who are there and the things which are there and the worlds which are there have a start date and an end date. That's one restrictions of the Brahmandam itself. Two is everybody who is inside the Brahmandam is bound by some karma, because everybody is doing one action. Right? Brahma, slight exception, we're going to see in the last stanza, but everybody else who's in the Brahmandam is bound by action. So anytime somebody has a karma or action, automatically the sorrow, grief, pain, all of that is a natural associated with it, right? So he says this Vaikuntham is that place where it is not inside this Brahmandam, because if it is inside the Brahmandam, then even the people who reside in Vaikuntham are subjected to the karma, they're subjected to the starting and the ending. So that's the reason it says it's beyond Vaikuntham, because it is not bound by any of these things. And the Vaikuntham is a set of, they call it a planetary system. It's not just one place. It's a set of, it's called the Vaikuntha set of planets. And the general in the Bhagavatam, the distance they are given is from the Satyaloka, it is 200 million miles. It says 26 million yojanas above Satyaloka is where Vaikuntham is, right? But somehow Brahma is able to get a vision. Right, so he's not going there, but he's getting a vision of Vaikuntham, right? He's able to see it. Now, in this place, he says this Vaikuntham, of course, he says it's extremely bright, Sandra, and it's extremely bright there. There's no Maya present there, because of which Shoka, no sorrow, Krodha, no anger, Vimoha, no hallucination or delusion or any of that stuff, or Sadhvam, any fear. So none of these things exist in Vaikuntham, because it cannot be bound by any of these constraints. It's always Sandranandajari. It's always a stream of bliss or a happiness which is there, because it's not bound by any of this. So this Vaikuntha Rupam Vibho, this Vaikuntham region of yours was thus shown to Brahma by you. So we're going to see more of what is there in it, but right now the Vaikuntham is shown to you, shown to Brahma. So Maya yatra, and of course there's no Maya there, right? So Maya yatra kadapi no vikurute, comma, bhate jagadbhyo bahihi, comma, shoka krodha vimoha sadvasa mukhaha. So put a visarga there, comma, bhavastu duram gataha. So because there is no Maya, there is no concept of duality. So we, like we saw already, all of us is the same supreme consciousness, but somehow we think that we are different, right? But that's where there's a concept of duality. But the general belief is Advaitam. There's nothing dual, but we feel like that. But however, in Vaikuntham, there's no feeling of duality, because there's no Maya there. So everybody there knows, and we'll see who is there. Everybody there knows they are part of the Lord itself, right? So there's no differentiation for them. Maya yatra kadapi no vikurute bhate jagadbhyo bahihi shoka krodha vimoha sadvasa mukhaha bhavastu duram gataha.
Maya yatra kadapi no vikurute bhate jagadbhyo bahihi shoka krodha vimoha sadvasa mukhaha bhavat suduram gataha. Maya yatra kadapi no vikurute bhate jagadbhyo bahihi shoka krodha vimoha sadvasa mukhaha bhavat suduram gataha.
Maya yatra kadapi no vikurute bhate jagadbhyo bahihi shoka krodha vimoha sadvasa mukhaha bhavastu duram gataha. Maya yatra kadapi no vikurute bhate jagadbhyo bahihi shoka krodha vimoha sadvasa mukhaha bhavastu duram gataha.
Sandra Nanda Jharicha Yatra Parama Jyotihi, put a F, Jyotif Prakashatmake Tatte Dhama Vibhavitam Vijayate, Vaikuntha Rupam Vibho. Sandhrananda Ch Yatra Parama Jyotif Prakashatmake Tatte Dhama Vibhavitam Vijayate Vaikuntha Rupam Vibho.
Sandranandajari cha yatra paramajyotif prakashatmake tatte dhama vibhavitam vijayate vaikunta rupam vibho. Sandranandajari cha yatra paramajyotif prakashatmake tatte dhama vibhavitam vijayate vaikunta rupam vibho.
Sandranandajhari cha yatra paramajyotif prakashatmake tatte dhama vibhavitam vijayate vaikuntha rupam vibho. Sandranandajhari cha yatra paramajyotif prakashatmake tatte dhama vibhavitam vijayate vaikuntha rupam vibho.
Stanza 5. Yasmin nama chaturbhujaha Harimani Shyamavadharatvisho Nana Bhushana Ratnadipita Disho Rajatvimanadayaha Bhakti Prapta Tada Vidhonna Tapadhaha Divyanti Divyajanaha Tatte Dhama Nirasta Sarvashamalam Vaikuntha Rupam Jayet. So now Brahma is like zooming in, right? So he first gets a view of Vaikuntham now. So somehow he's zooming in and seeing what is inside Vaikuntham. Now, the thing to notice here is because even Vaikuntham does not have any of these karma, and we said it does not have Shoka, Krodha, Vimoha, Sadha, Samukha, it doesn't have any of those things, right? So which means when people who are inside Brahmandam, when they go to Vaikuntham, so what happens then, right? So let's say somebody, in a lot of, even Krishna Avataram we saw, where Brahma and everybody goes and meets the Lord in Vaikuntham, it says, right? But how can they go inside there when they all are bound by this, right? So they say that's where the explanation that is given to it is there is another, like we have a mock Tirupati, right? Because you cannot go to Tirupati, they have a mock Tirupati, right? So they say something called as a Karya Vaikuntham, which is the Lord has said, you cannot come into Vaikuntham if you have any of these attributes. So only two ways you can go. Either at the end of the Prakritika Pralaya, everybody goes and merges into the Lord in Vaikuntham. That's one. Or if you are lucky, we saw in the Ashtanga Yoga and other place, you get liberated and then you go and merge into Vaikuntham. That's a second possibility. Otherwise, for everybody else, there's a Karya Vaikuntham which is inside the Brahmandam itself, which is there, where it resembles the same Vaikuntham, but you are not going to Vaikuntham. Because it cannot be that somebody who is bound by karma, somebody who has all of these things, they cannot be going there. So that's why the explanation is there's a separate Karya Vaikuntham. So anyway, so this Brahma, when he's zooming in and he's seeing, he says it's not just the Lord who's there. There's Lakshmi Devi who's there. There is Garuda who's there, right? Then there is the Jaya, Vijaya, Dwarapalakas who are there. There's Narada also there. So he's saying all of these people are always there. So the people who are there, they can come out of Vaikuntham and go into, it's like in and out possible, but people who are outside cannot go in unless you meet the certain conditions. So he says is there, and we saw how far it is, right? So it's a very nice stanza in Bhagavatam which I'll say of what the people are, how it describes, right? So it says Shyamavadata Shatapatra Lochanaha Pishanga Vastra Surachas Supekshasah Sarve Chatur Bhagava Unmishan Mahi Praveka Nishka Bharana Shuvarchasaha. So it says everybody who's there has the same, that what you call the Shama color, the dark blue hue color. Everybody's looking in the same color. Everybody has Chatur Bahu. That's why if you go to the temple and you see the Jaya, Vijaya, Dwarapalakas who are standing, right? They'll also have 4 hands, Chatur Bahu, because they are in Vaikuntham. So if they are in Vaikuntham, they also have 4 hands. They all have lotus-like eyes. The eyes are like shaped like lotus, right? And they are very attractive, and they are, they're always shining, right? When you look at them itself, they're shining. You can say there's so much tejas which is actually there in them. And because they're not bound by any of the miseries and everything, and they don't have any material bodies, right? So none of them have material bodies. But it is like when you look at them, they take that form of a material body. So that's how we can relate. So it looks like they have 4 hands. It looks like they have lotus-like eyes. It looks like they are blue in color. But they don't have any material body. They can take any material body or form or shape that they actually want. Right? So here, this is what Brahma is seeing when he's actually looking into Vaikuntham. Right? He says, Tatte padam Vaikuntha Rupam Jayet. Right? So victory to this for Vaikuntham region of yours, which Brahma is able to see. So Yasmin Nama Chatur Bhujaha, put a visarga there, comma. Hari Mani Shyamavadada Tvisho. You can say it together. Hari Mani Shyamavadada Tvisho, comma. Nana Bhushana Ratna Deepita Disho, comma. Rajat Vimanalayaha. Yasmin Nama Chatur Bhujaha Harimani Shyamavadada Tvisho. Nana Bhushana Ratna Deepita Disho. Rajat Vimanalayaha.
Yasminnama Chaturbhujaha Harimani Shyamavada Tvisho Nana Bhushana Ratna Deepa Disho Rajadvimana Layaha. Yasminnama Chaturbhujaha Harimani Shyamavada Tvisho Nana Bhushana Ratna Deepita Disho Rajadvimana Layaha.
Yasminnama Chaturbhujaha Harimani Shyamavadatatvisho Nana Bhushana Ratna Deepita Disho Rajadvimanaalayaha. Yasminnama Chaturbhujaha Harimani Shyamavadatatvisho Nana Bhushana Ratna Deepita Disho Rajadvimanaalayaha.
Bhakti Prapta Tatha Vidhonnata Padaha, put a visarga again, comma. Divyanti Divya Janaha, visarga and comma again. Next line is, if you have it, that goes away. Tatte Dhama Nirasta Sarva Shamalam, comma. Vaikuntha Rupam Jayet. Bhakti Prapta Tata Vidhonnata Padaha Divyanti Divya Janaha. Tatte Dhama Nirasta Sarva Shamalam Vaikuntha Rupam Jayet.
Bhakti Prapta Tatha Vidhonnata Padaha Divyanti Divya Janaha Tatte Dhamanirasta Sarva Shamalam Vaikuntham Rupam Jayet. Bhakti Prapta Tatha Vidhonnata Padaha Divyanti Divya Janaha Tatte Dhamanirasta Sarva Shamalam Vaikuntham Rupam Jaye.
Vaikuntham, there's no im there. Vaikuntha Rupam.
Vaikuntha Rupam.
Bhakti Prapta Tatha Vidhonnata Padaha Divyanti Divya Janaha Tatte Dhama Nirasta Sarva Shamalam Vaikuntha Rupam Jayet. Bhakti Prapta Tatha Vidhonnata Padaha Divyanti Divya Janaha Tatte Dhama Nirasta Sarva Shamalam Vaikuntha Rupam Jayet.
Stanza 6. Nana Divya Vadhu Janaira Bhivrata Vidyullata Tuljaya Vishwonmadana Hridya Gatralataya Vidyotita Shantara Tvatpadambuja Saurabhaika Kutukat Lakshmi Swayam Lakshyate Yasmin Vismayaniya Divya Vibhavam Tatte Padam Dehi Me. So like I said, in this chapter, there are a couple of stanzas which are very important. So 6, 7, and 8, you can mark it and keep. So when sometimes people ask, what can I say every day? So 6, 7, and 8 in this chapter, you can chant every day. But also depends on whether you want to chant it. So I'll say the meaning and then you decide if you want to chant it or not, right? So here it says, Tatte Padam. So that world, that land of yours, Padam, that world of yours, Dehi Me, please give me. So you are praying for it, right? So it says, that is if you want to go to Vaikuntham. So he says, I'm now going to describe the Vaikuntham, which you please that great for land, region that Brahma saw, I want to be in there. That's the prayer you're doing. So he says this place is where, when it says Mahalakshmi is there always serving the Lord's feet. She's always there with the Lord. And not only her, she and her companions are always there. Now, when you're going somewhere, you say TripAdvisor, what are the top 10 things to do? In the top 10 things to do, Vaikuntham, there's only one thing, which is you have to be always praying to the Lord. That's the only thing that is there. So that everybody who is there, whether it be Mahalakshmi, whether it be Narada or Garuda, Jaya, Vijaya, the only thing they do is they're always praying to the Lord. Right? So if that is not what you don't want to do, then that's not the place to go. Right? So if you go there, that's the only thing that is you can do. There's nothing else to do there, number one. And even Bhatripat said in the first Dasakam also, he says that any place you go, after some time, few times you go, you get bored. He says, but your Vaikuntham is not like that. It's full of supreme bliss. You'll feel so happy and blissful that you will not want to come out of that. Right? So he says that's a place of unending bliss where Lakshmi Devi and everybody is there, and they always play. They're in the state of bliss because they're always praying to you. Right? It's just that for a great region of Vaikuntham, which has got everything that one needs, right? From a not materialistic sense, from a non-materialistic sense, on everything that's something everybody needs. Please give me an opportunity to be in that region. So that's the first prayer he's doing here. So Nana Divya Vadhu Janaira Bhivrita, comma, Vidyul Lata Tulyaya, comma, Vishwonmadana Hridya Gatra Lataya, comma, Vidyotita Shantara. Nana Divya Vadhu Janaira Bhivrita, Vidyul Lata Tulyaya, Vishwonmadana Hridya Gatra Lataya, Vidyotita Shantara.
नाना दिव्य वधू जनैद अभिवृता विद्युल्लता तुल्यया विश्वोन्मादन हृदया गात्रलतया विद्योतिता शांतरा.
The second line, Hridya Gatra.
Hridya, okay. नाना दिव्य धूजनैर अभिवृता विद्युल्लता तुल्यया विश्वोन्मादन हृदय गात्रलतया विद्योतिता शांतरा.
नाना दिव्यवधूजनैरभिवृता विद्युल्लता तुल्यया विश्वोन्मादन हृदय गात्रलतया विद्योतिता शांतरा. नाना दिव्यवधूजनैरभिवृता विद्युल्लता तुल्यया विश्वोन्मादन हृदय गात्रलतया विद्योतिता शांतरा.
Twat Padambuja Saura Bhaika Kutukat. So you have a ill and then a Lakshmi. That ill you remove, put a it. Kutukat, comma. Lakshmi hi is there, put a is. Lakshmis Swayam Lakshyate, comma. Yasmin Vismayaniya Divya Vibhavam, comma. Tatte Padam Dehime. त्वत्पादाम्बुज सौरभैककुतुकात् लक्ष्मी स्वयं लक्ष्यते यस्मिन् विस्मयनीय दिव्य विभवं तत्ते पदं देहि मे.
Rajesh,
त्वत्पदाम्बुज
அது விபவமா விபவம்மா?
विभवं.
त्वत्पदाम्बुज सौरभैककुतुकात् लक्ष्मी स्वयं लक्ष्यते यस्मिन् विस्मयनीय दिव्य विभवं तत्ते पदं देहि मे.
Lavanya, त्वत्पादाम्बुज.
त्वत्पादाम्बुज सौरभैककुतुकात् लक्ष्मी स्वयं लक्ष्यते यस्मिन् विस्मयनीय दिव्य विभवं तत्ते पदं देहि मे.
त्वत्पादाम्बुज सौरभैककुतुकात् लक्ष्मी स्वयं लक्ष्यते यस्मिन् विश्वयनीय दिव्य विभवं तत्ते पदं देहि मे. त्वत्पादाम्बुज सौरभैककुतुकात् लक्ष्मी स्वयं लक्ष्यते यस्मिन् विस्मयनीय दिव्य sorry. Yasmin vismayaniya divya vibhavam tatte padam dehi me.
Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. We'll end the class here. सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमितं कालदेशावदेभ्यां निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनरुरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावद्भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम् कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Rajesh. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you, Rajesh.